EmptyThoughtsStudios proudly presents No Man's Sky Planet Showcase. Today's Planet Showcase takes place within the system of shameless Empty Thought Studios on the planet Myth1250 started here. Rejoice, Gek Speaker. What? Why'd they mess up the system name? Really? I know I renamed their ancestral homeworld, but if the Gek wanted to get even with me, why not, name it something, name the planet, or the solar system, something like Myth1250 is an asshole, or, I don't know, just leave it the name they had it. Anyways, side note, without further ado, let's take a look at the planet. As you can see, there's really not a whole lot to it. Lots of open space, some trees, iron, that doesn't exist everywhere, except yes it does. So as you see, there's not really a lot to this planet, so expect this episode to be shorter than ones in the future. Oh, iridium, that is something new. Special. There. You saw something spectacular. And guess what? Over to our left, that's right, more open space. So, how about we take a look at some of the animals that call this planet home? From the moment I regained consciousness after my crash, the planet greeted me with wildlife. Little did I know at that point that these flying things would be the bane of my existence. They flew away. I give up. Screw this. I'm out of here. After what felt like an eternity of looking, I considered myself excessively lucky when told about the jab plant by the locals. The Gek said that covering myself in its pollen would help lure in the utata, or giant bat-faced moth as we more commonly call it. So, naturally, I covered myself in as much pollen as possible before setting out again in the morning. I immediately set out come sunrise with the newfound hope that I would find the elusive giant bat-faced moth thanks to the advice of the Gek. It quickly became apparent, however, that the pollen wasn't luring them in, as there were none to be found for miles in any direction. As I sat in my cockpit, I so desperately hoped that perhaps a flock would just fly in front of me. If I hit one or two, it's not like it's my fault. They flew in front of me! Despite the fact that the pollen was obviously not attracting any bat-faced moths, it was attracting another flying creature, a much smaller one, that liked to bite. A lot. At first, I just sort of shrugged it off like it was nothing, but soon there was an intense pain, like nothing I've ever felt before, undescribable, like burning and numbness all at the same time. Needless to say, I lost control of my plane and crashed. Again. For the second time on this planet. After nursing me back to health, a Gek shaman was also kind enough to show me where I could find the giant bat-faced moth. He even called one down so that I could get a scan of it. Furthermore, he explained to me that the other Geks told me about the pollen as a punishment for renaming their home. Which, I suppose, honestly, yeah, I had it coming. After my brush with death, the Gek threw a large festival in my honor and accepted me into their culture. Although I couldn't understand most of what was said, from what I could translate, anybody who is bitten by the Unaka beetle and lives to tell about it deserves their respect and honor. I didn't stay around, however, very long for the festivities, as I had other animals to film. So, I set out once more, looking for the creatures. I searched high and low on the planet, but to no avail. It seemed almost as though the other creatures were out to avoid me now that I had finally filmed the rare bat-faced moth. I began to lose hope that maybe I wasn't meant to film the creatures of this planet. Perhaps I was best off to return to the Gek and enjoy my hero status. If not for my adventurous spirit, I probably would have given up and returned to the Gek. My sense of discovery wouldn't let me do that, though, so I continued my journey. By sheer coincidence, that's when I spotted them. I circled around and flew in for a closer look. I was lucky to have spotted a family of Armelio-radimus and Armelio-radimas from the air. Although the two are very similar, the radimus are shelled, while the radimas have a row of spikes that run down their spine. As you can see, this family unit seems unfazed by my being around them. Although this is not always true, as you will see in this next clip, some Armelio-radimus scurry away at the very sight of me. Curious to discover if there are any more radimus and radimas around, I decided to go through this cave and see if perhaps there was another family unit awaiting on the other side. Despite the bland nature this planet sometimes has, occasionally one has to just absorb its natural beauty. Glorious, isn't it? Although I didn't find the Armelio-radimus' family unit, as it is they are rarely seen to travel alone, I did hear the sound of a scamper in the distance, which led me to this, another family unit. Scampers are often seen traveling in groups as well. Watch as this elder runs towards the young after perceiving me as a threat. I'm not entirely sure how an antlered scamper would protect itself, let alone its young, from me, but that shows the close bond that these creatures have with one another. Most of the time, as their name implies, a scamper will run away, as seen here. It's hard to tell, but that was a curve-horned scamper, while over here we have another of the antlered scampers which you saw before. More importantly to this clip, however, remains in the background, as we see yet another family unit. This one comprised of boarbedders, more specifically, spineback boarbedders. Boarbedders are walking contradictions. Although they appear as though they might be dirty, as you can clearly see here, they clean themselves quite frequently. Also, their grotesque nature makes them appear quite fearsome, but they're rather tame and quite playful as well. You're not playful? I think you're playful. Are you playful? No. Oh, he's not playful. I guess he's not playful. But they are clean. You might remember boarbedders from my first video, shown here. And here. And also here. The first time I saw a boarbedder, I felt intimidated. I thought it might eat me at any moment, which led me to my first accident, falling in a hole. Well, first accident if you don't count the crash. But, as I quickly learned, boarbedders are more afraid of me than I am of them. Upon discovering that boarbedders have a diet primarily comprised of iron, I decided to gather some to see if I could feed this one to perhaps tame it somehow. Despite approaching with the iron in my hand, it flees at first, but upon being fed, it becomes overjoyed and quite playful. I have since this time taken this boarbedder as my pet, and I have thus named him Bacon. Shown here is another subspecies of boarbedder, the roundback. Despite being less common than the spineback, the roundback boarbedder is more often seen because they are less timid than their spined cousin. Whereas spineback boarbedders tend to avoid settlements and give them a wide berth, roundbacks are often seen very near the settlements, and will even let you approach and draw quite close before fleeing. Although dusk was already upon me, and night was fast approaching, I decided to continue my search for more animals. I had had such good luck all day, after all. I mean, why stop while I'm hot, right? As I approached the plains, I knew it would be my best bet to search there for dust striders. Dust striders prefer the plains, as it is they can achieve their maximum speed there without worry of being impeded by other landforms such as hills and mountains. This is an evolutionary trait to help dust striders avoid predators. Although there are no predators on this planet large enough to take down a healthy dust strider, the tendency remains. We see here a saddleback dust strider. In times long past, saddlebacks were used as mounts by the Gek. It is very rare to see a gek riding a saddleback nowadays, since they primarily use spaceships to travel. But, as you can see, saddlebacks still maintain a lot of their domesticated nature. Even as I draw ever closer, you can see that the dust strider seems completely unfazed by my presence. I'm sure if I wanted to, I could probably ride it, but I choose not to for fear that I'd break my neck. Here we have a horned dust strider watching over its young. The gek call horned dust riders guardian creatures. They believe that they are guardians over all life because they watch over not only their own young, the horned dust riders, but also saddleback dust rider young. After several hard days of hunting down animals, I decided to take a day off and just enjoy a casual stroll through a canyon. This also gives me another chance to show you the potential beauty this planet has to offer. Beauty such as this platinum plant. Okay, so that's a thing. But beauty such as that, and all these rocks and cactuses and different types of iron endenite. You know, like this to our left, whateverite, which is another fancy word for iron. Before the day was out, I couldn't help myself but to search for more creatures. Let's face it, there's not a lot to see on this planet, unless you're seeing the creatures. Like right now, cactuses, and nothing, and various ores, mostly iron. It's a pretty ugly planet, admittedly. But I had no success finding creatures from the sky today, so I decided to set to foot to search. I slowly scanned the environment with hopes of finding something. Anything. Overbites are probably one of the poorest named creatures in the known universe. As it is, they actually have underbites, not overbites. Don't hold it against me, folks. I didn't name them, I just translated it. Given, I guess there is a chance that I got the word for over and under confused. I mean, I'm still learning gek, alright? But if I were to name them, I'd name them like Tusk something or others. Here we have another overbite. Notice how it just slowly approaches until... What's this? Ah! Run away! And it bolts off in a flash. Well, as fast as overbites run anyway. The next animal on my list would perhaps be the hardest to find due to its timid nature and the fact that it doesn't grow very large. By no means would I be able to spot it from the sky. I would, however, be able to spot its habitat, which consists of lush plant life. As you've seen, plant life is sparse on this planet, thus making a fin prancer's habitat very easy to spot, even from the sky. Before I even notice it, a fin prancer's already spotted me and makes her break for its natural habitat in the brush. Notice here how even a large fin prancer hides very easily within its home. Fin prancers rarely leave the comfort of their habitat, as it is they are easily seen and quickly picked off by scurry bugs, which consider them a delicacy. What fin prancers lack in size and agility, they more than make up for with their ability to hide. You've already seen how a fin prancer can hide, but you can't smell how a fin prancer can hide. Fin prancers emit an odor that masks their scent from all predators. The only remaining species left on the planet to show are the scurry bugs. Scurry bugs have a hive mind, which simply means if something happens to one of them, they all know it. This doesn't bode very well for me, as it is that scurry bugs and myself have a very bloodied history. From the moment I first arrived on this planet, I've pretty well been at war with these creatures. Scurry bugs can be found in almost every cave on the planet, but since they have a hive mind, I'm very cautious about what caves I approach, as it is they could easily set up a trap to ambush me. When deciding upon a location to film scurry bugs, I set forth several criteria to keep myself safe. First, the cave should be rather open. That way I can see if any scurry bugs are approaching, as well as have options of escape route. Secondly, there shouldn't be other cave entrances nearby, as scurry bugs could easily flood out of them and catch me off guard from behind. Lastly, the cave should not be positioned under a direct cliff, as I've seen scurry bugs fling themselves off of them to get to me. At first glance, this cave would appear ideal for encountering scurry bugs, since it's so open, but upon further review of the area for safety, we come to notice several flaws, in that there are other cave entrances over here behind us, which could easily allow for the scurry bugs to flank us. A continuing analysis of the area shows another fatal flaw, in that all these caves are situated at the base of a cliff, which could easily allow for the scurry bugs to attack from above. After hours of intense searching, I finally found a cave that met all of our safety criteria. Unfortunately, there were no scurry bugs to be found in this cave, so, as it turns out, our search continues. After a day full of failed attempts, I wasn't quite ready to give up yet. I was willing to take a few more added risks in my hunt for the scurry bugs. Scurry bugs become more dangerous at night because they are typically nocturnal. I figured if I found a cave that met all of my safety criteria, I would feel safe enough to try and encounter the scurry bugs, while the scurry bugs themselves and their hive minds would instinctively detect that they have the advantage because it's night, and would try and attack. Although my day was filled with many failed attempts, I found success rather quickly come night. This cave met all of my safety criteria. When hunting scurry bugs, be sure to follow the safety steps I have already mentioned, as well as a few others. Cautiously approach the cave, and check all the areas behind you for any scurry bugs that may be hiding. After feeling assured that the area behind me was safe, I decided to further proceed deeper in the cave. I would now check these two tunnels for safety. Unfortunately, scurry bugs work rather fast, and this one caught me off guard. Luckily, my jetpack kept me out of harm's way and prevented it from biting me. One disadvantage scurry bugs have is that when they send two information at one time to the hive, they have to pause to send all that information. Unfortunately, I couldn't take advantage of this, as they were prepared for my arrival, and I would soon meet my old nemesis again. Did you see him there? Yeah, there he is, that's right. Angry-ass crab bastard. I hate that crab. In case you don't remember my first encounter, it was kind of like this. Hey, what's going on? One little tap, and the hive mind has hated me ever since. I guess it's just spiteful like that. Lucky for me, the crab species is very poor in sight. By the way, I would like to let it note that is not an actual translation from Gek. I just took a little bit of liberty in naming this one, because I hate him. Keep noted how I slowly sneak up on him when he's not paying attention. No love tap this time. Unfortunately for myself, after clearing out that nest, the hive had it pretty dead set for me and began to attack even in broad daylight outside of caves, as you can clearly see here. Feeling as though I had no other options, I set out to destroy as many scurry bug nests as possible, which led me to many situations similar to that which you're seeing right now. I decided I would take on my old nemesis once more, and I would end him. I said I would end him. Well, this is kind of the way the fight goes. It's a lot of back and forth, until I shoot him in the face. Unfortunately, there were witnesses. We can't have witnesses. And that's that. As many of you have probably already guessed, I've been transmitting from a secure location, as it is I am currently on the run from intergalactic police for destruction of Sentinel property. But never fear, I'll be back soon with another episode, and probably another ID. But between now and then, always remember, Empty Thought Studios. We got you.